Emily asked me to come here to say a little bit something about emptiness. And as always, I'm a little bit embarrassed because, she knows more about emptiness than I do. So, and then the morning you had class with Pende, and he's an amazing teacher about emptiness. When we were in Nalanda, he was in the class. We studied Madhyamika together with Geshe Jampa Tekchok. But he had already studied for many, many years. So, he was way ahead. I was the little baby there, trying to follow what they were talking about. Very, very embarrassing. So I think if you have the class with Pende and with Emily, it's like, what is there left to be said? Anyway, how to say, from my side it's always I'm asked to do something, and from my side it's good to repay the kindness of other people, share a little bit something, and we all have our own perspective, our own experience. So to hear from different angle is always nice, like that. Is there a place for Angie? Maybe you can sit here. You had a row. I had a row here. Yeah. Emptiness is a tricky thing, You study all these years, and then you say, but, what's the point of knowing that the table is merely labeled, and is empty from existing from its own side? Come on, And what's the point of knowing that the mala is empty, the cup is empty? And then experientially how you bring that awareness in your everyday life, what's left, yeah, you have all this conceptual understanding of emptiness, but then in your everyday life, how does that affect you? How does it change your behavior? How are you able to integrate? So all these questions comes up, after years of familiarizing oneself with emptiness. So I think we're going to explore a little bit, different ways of looking at it this afternoon. But first we're going to recite the Heart Sutra together, which is, especially when one focuses on emptiness, the Heart Sutra is said to purify our mind of veil and obscuration. So it makes us maybe hear things differently, that it not only touches our head, but also moves something in our heart that leads us to some kind of understanding, some kind of insight. And at least while we chant, we don't fall asleep, so it also has that benefit. Okay. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on mass of Vulture's mountain in Rajagira together with a great community and a great community of Bodhisattva. At that time the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration of the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of, and beheld those five aggregate also as empty of inner nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasat Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train wishes to practice the activity, the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that in the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the venerable Sharadvati Putra Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice activities of the profound perfection of his should look on this and greatly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inner and nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form. Form is also no other than emptiness. This way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factor, and consciousness. And Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness without characteristic, and produce unsustainless or without stain or efficient or full. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no feeling, no discrimination, no composition factor, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no visual phenomenon, taste, no smell of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on up to including no element. No mental consciousness element, there is no ignorance, no extinctions of, and so on up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and similarly there is no suffering, origination, cessation. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattva rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. The man without obscuration and without having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end of nirvana. All the bodies, the 3 times and so manifest, completely awakened to unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment, in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the Tayata Gade Gade Para Samgade Bodhisoa. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Bodhisattva to station in command, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalok. Saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. Should practice the profound perfection of wisdom. You have indicated. Even the Tathagata rejoice. The body, the venerable Sharadvati Putra, Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. Those surrounded in their entirety along with the and gone, wherever enjoyed and highly praised the words spoken. Taya dao mune ma muna yeso. Taya dao mune ma muna yeso. Taya So whether one's activity become greatly positive or not, it depends on one's motivation. So if one has the aspiration to listen to teaching and reflect on emptiness, with the motivation that put an imprint to have a good rebirth, so it will bring us about that purpose. If we listen to the teaching and reflect on emptiness with the thought, may that lead us to liberation from our mental affliction, then that will be the cause for that. And if we have the aspiration, may that free myself and all living beings from our mental obscuration and stain of this affliction, the leftover. May I become a fully enlightened being, so that myself be able to lead all beings to the cessation of all suffering forever. So try to induce a positive state of mind. I'm not coming here just to have fun with René, but also to go a little bit deeper in my mind and add fuel to my aspiration for highest enlightenment. All right, so when one approaches emptiness, there's two ways. Actually, there's many different ways, but there's two main approach. One is the conceptual, analytical approach that one uses mainly when one studies philosophy and one study the four schools of philosophy, and in our tradition, mainly the Madhyamika. But then Lama Tsongkhapa said it's very important to meditate on the similes of enlightenment, of emptiness. That actually one doesn't only understand through concept, analytical, one also understand intuitively. You see, one has to balance it with the intuitive approach of reality. So he advises us to meditate on the similes of enlightenment, of emptiness. That it's very important to balance these two. Usually one says, you meditate analytically on emptiness while on the cushion, then you focus on space-like absorption onto emptiness, right? And then in the break time, you see things like an illusion, or like a dream, and so forth. So in the teaching says, so in the break time you do the more intuitive approach. But actually Lama Tsongkhapa in the teaching says, actually these examples of emptiness are meant to be meditated on, because they speak to another part of your brain, and it gives you a more holistic picture of things, So I thought this afternoon we're going to meditate a little bit on that, because I think one often hears the presentation on emptiness, using the reasonings. So this afternoon I would like to focus on the intuitive approach a little bit. And so in the sutras you have many lists of similes of emptiness. So in the Prajnaparamita you have a list of 8. In the Vajrakota Sutra, how many are there? There are 9. And there's a list of 12, but I wasn't able to find the source in a sutra. There's a list of 12 in the teaching of Naropa. So in the life and teaching of Naropa, there's a list of 12 similes that Naropa gives. And there inside, there's one, this is the rainbow. And I have a little crunch for rainbows. So I thought, I have a crunch for rainbows. You say a crush? Crush. You say crush? Yes. Crush, thank you. So I have a crush for rainbows, yes. Yeah, because when I was a kid, I used to go to school 4 miles away by bicycle, and so it's 4 miles is not that long, but there's a hill in the middle. So you had to go up with the bicycle and go down to the school, and at lunchtime we had 2 hours break. So again, up with the bicycle and down, So I would do that 4 times a day, back and forth. But in Switzerland it rains often, right? So you had always rainbows, when you go with the bicycle. And I remember wanting to go to the beginning of a rainbow with my bicycle, and going to the village. So it comes from that house, the rainbow goes there. So you come close, and this rainbow moves, it doesn't go there. So I had, many beautiful rainbows in my childhood, and I love them, I like them. So when I saw in the teaching, you can use rainbow as an object of emptiness, fantastic. So I like to meditate on the rainbow. But you here in California asked Jack this morning, and he said, well, here's only maybe in the winter, when it rains. The rest of the time we don't have much rainbow here. So I don't know whether rainbow will work for you. So I thought, something. So because we have very little memory of rainbow, I thought to distribute a rainbow so that you can actually look at the rainbow. So then on that base, yes, please. So there's 3 different rainbow. You don't need to get all 3 of them. You just get one. Depending on your karma, you get one or the other, okay? Yeah. Because you see, you look at the picture and it might remind you of rainbows you have seen, you know, sometimes on holiday or in different places, you know. So, and otherwise you just look at the picture for a while, you know, and you imagine you're in that picture and that you look at the rainbow. Actually, we could also make a rainbow, you know, with a hose, you know, or with the, you know, the spray, you know, go out in the sun and make a little personal rainbow. Thank you. Because you see, the trick is with emptiness, you know, so you do the analysis, you know, and you don't find the inherent existence of the thing, and you stay, you know, a few seconds there, and then you open your eyes again and everything is as before, existing from his own side. No leftover at all, you know. The problem is our sense consciousness are cheating us all the time. See, our sense consciousness perceives things inherently. You have no choice but to see things inherently. No? So, at our level, you see emptiness and dependence arising through a mental image. A mental image that you add on top of what your sense consciousness falsely see as inherently existent. You know, that's how one meditates, right? So if your sense consciousness overpower your mental image of emptiness, then the meditation is gone. So only a Buddha has the sense consciousness that sees things as they are, you know, as dependent arising, as empty of inherent existence, simultaneously. No? For us, so even a yogi, you know, which has a direct perception of emptiness, in meditation, when he opens his eyes, things again appear inherently existent to his sense consciousness, but his mental consciousness sees them as empty as inherently existent. So he has both, right? Because he had that direct perception of emptiness in meditation. Then when he comes out, he doesn't believe, you know, what his sense consciousness tells him. But first, why do we bother so much with emptiness? You know, what's the point? You know, why? You know, I mean, you know, I'm quite happy, you know. Why need I bother with the emptiness? So, and also, when you develop calm abiding, actually, while you're in meditative absorption, there's no mental affliction. No? So, why bother with emptiness? And then there's the other antidote, right? There's love, compassion, patience. Impermanence. So why bother with emptiness? What do you think? Why do we need emptiness? Not sure? You see, our situation is such as when we perceive things, there's sensation arise, feeling, right? So things appear, things are pleasant, and when we experience pleasant things, because they are pleasant from their own side, then attraction arises, desire, grasping, craving, So when the mind experiences pleasure, automatically it wants more of it, And when the mind experiences unpleasurable thing, unpleasurable sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, mental event, unpleasant, then the mind has aversion, wants to go away from it, right? And that movement of the mind, attraction and aversion, you see, that attraction, aversion is what creates samsara, right? As long as you have an attraction to any object, you're bound in cyclic existence. As long as you have aversion to just one object or one person, you're stuck in cyclic existence, right? So you see, we create karma through intention. Each time you have an intention, an attraction, an aversion, each time that you have a movement of the mind as an attraction and an aversion, you create samsara right there. So samsara is not a place outside, it's a movement of the mind. Each moment we either create samsara or we create nirvana. So as long as your mind doesn't have any attraction, aversion, you can say your mind is nirvana. As soon as the mind has attraction and aversion, you're in samsara. So an arhat, or a being that is liberated, he sees all phenomena in equal taste. He has no attraction, no aversion. Right? He's a mind that has seen the phenomena in a single taste. No attraction, no aversion. So no matter what the senses bring, the five senses and the mind, no matter what the mind, what the sense consciousness bring in, the mind doesn't react. And I think that's one of the surprise we've had, maybe when you are with a High Lama. Sometimes they behave in a way that is not normal. Normally he should have attraction or aversion, and he doesn't react. So you say, what's going on there? I think we all had certain circumstance like that. Where it's very, very hot, and it doesn't seem to bother him, or it's very, very cold, it doesn't seem to bother him. Things like that. So it shows a mind that doesn't react, you see. So, and how do you do that? Is because you see things as empty from their own side. Because if things were pleasant and unpleasant from their own side, it's impossible to prevent that movement from arising, that attraction or that aversion. So you can check yourself how advanced you are in realization of emptiness. You look at your reaction. Do you have attraction and aversion? If you still have some problem to solve, right? So that's what emptiness brings to you. You see the equal taste. You have no more attraction, no more aversion. And this no more attraction, no more aversion is not a state of dullness, always boring, no more excitement in life, no more passion, but actually it's a state of bliss, it's a state of bliss and great curiosity or awakeness. So your mind is very sharp and very, very perspective. Thank you. Perceptive. Yeah. So it's a state of heightened awareness. It's almost like you see the particles in things. So it's you're very curious and very sharp. Very awake. So it's not at all a state of dullness where your mind withdraws from phenomena, and doesn't want to engage. No, you're completely there with things. You see them very precisely. So the discriminating awareness is still there. And also your mind experiences a sense of peace. You see, there's no more hope and fear. Right? So your mind is, you see, our mind is always constantly shaken up inside. The ego wants this, doesn't want that, and it goes all this through this emotion, up and down. If you get criticized, you're unhappy. If you're praised, you're happy. If you get something, you're happy. If you don't get it, you're unhappy. So the ego creates all these different emotional states. But if you have perception of emptiness, this emotional tantrum doesn't happen anymore. Your mind is always equal, blissfully, peacefully equal. And then, when one perceives other being, you see, because there's no more this attraction, aversion, indifference, and that your mind perceives things, how beings are. It's almost like you can see their delusion, you see where they are at, but you also see their pure nature, that they are empty of inherent existence. They have this pure nature, this state of mind that is free from mental affliction. So you see that, and you see that temporarily their mind is obscured because they believe in the ego and they believe in this inherent existence, and because of that they experience all these emotions. But they could be without that, but simply they have this mistaken apprehension of self and of phenomena, and then because of that they have all these emotions, all these ups and downs, and because of being under control of the ego, then they create karma. Because they have attraction, aversion, then based on this attraction, aversion, they create this emotion and this action, and then they're bound. So you see that. So then naturally compassion is easy, love, compassion. Love because you see they are beautiful. You see that each being is unique and beautiful when they are free from mental affliction. You see their beautiful uniqueness as a sentient being without mental affliction. So you have love for that beauty, you wish them to be happy, that. And then you have compassion because you see that they are temporarily obscured because of this mistaken perception of reality. So you see, realizing emptiness is actually beneficial. You see, it has that's where it leads us to, right? Gradually, the heaviness of our mental affliction decrease. So it's not that one day you have desire and the next day you don't have any more. Or one day you have anger and the next day you cannot have anger anymore. It's the intensity of the attraction and aversion that decreases gradually. At the beginning you can still get very angry or very obsessed by something, or very jealous, very much pride, and then as the year passes, the intensity of this negative emotion decrease till they become very low, very, instead of having, when you have water, you boil, the water is very agitated, right? So as the year passes, the boiling is just very little, till actually it takes a lot for having any movement in the mind, so that your mind is always at peace and equal, with loving kindness, and and you have that emotional neutrality in you that allows you to have stable love, stable compassion, stable patience. Your mind is not always going up and down. So it's very beneficial. And so, as we said before, you see, through having an ethical lifestyle, so your mental affliction decreases, right? Because you avoid situations and places where the mental affliction become very wild. So your lifestyle make it that you don't allow yourself to let your mind go, into those places where your mind goes out of control. So that's one way to create the condition for the mind to improve. And then the second stage usually is calm abiding. Based on that ethic, you try to calm down your mind, right? And that is another level where you decrease your mental affliction. While in meditation, there would be no more mental affliction, right? While you're doing shamatha meditation, there's no more mental affliction. Then when you come out of that whatever peace you have experienced in your meditation, your post-meditation still has some flavor of that, right? So you're a little bit in a zone, so for a little while the mental affliction, they don't arise so much, right? Because you still have the leftover of your concentration. And then if you have, on the base of this ethic and concentration, then you meditate on emptiness, then actually you can remove the mental affliction from the root so that they never ever arise again. So advanced yogis, you see, when they have trained in this way, then they would go to places where normally they would have mental affliction. Right? So in Tibet they would go to cemetery, to fearful places, to cliffs, to see whether they still have fear arising or not, right? So maybe in the West you could go to a discotheque or to, soccer game or baseball game, to see whether your mind still reacts as before. So these are tests, you can do. So it's important to check, you see, how your mind progress, because you study years and years and years emptiness, and then you check, but has it changed my mind? You know, do I have less mental affliction as before? Do I react the same way as before? You know, when I'm reading about emptiness or do my meditation, yeah, my mind seems to be, you know, doing a little bit better. But how about in the break time? How about in my everyday life? Am I as agitated as before, going as much up and down? So that's the real exam. You don't need to ask your Lama, you know, hey, have I made progress? Am I better than before? Well, just check your mind, please. No? So the key really is mindfulness. You see, is whatever practice you do, is to have the mindfulness in everyday life, moment by moment. You know, so if you meditate on emptiness, you see, moment by moment, you meditate on emptiness. You don't let it go. You integrate in your daily life. That's why I see things like a dream, like a rainbow, like an illusion. You see, once you familiarize with these examples, then you try to see everything like that. You know? So you have a rainbow husband, rainbow child, rainbow house, rainbow car, you know, rainbow road. You know, everything rainbow. But it only works once you have understood the example, like we're going to do. You know, you see, how to say, in Buddhist philosophy, you use the term, you have a sound generality and a meaning generality, right? So you can use the term word emptiness, dependent arising, but it's just words. You repeat like a parrot, you know. Oh, the teacher, you know, teaches about emptiness, dependent arising. So you say, oh, oh, emptiness, dependent arising, but you don't know what it actually means. You know, it's just words, and you repeat them, right? So this is called sound generality, not just words, right? So they don't convey any meaning to you. They don't have any juice, you know. So then you have to think about it, meditate on it, so it becomes a meaning general. So it has a meaning, has some juice, so that you know what taste it conveys. It has to lead you to an experience, right? So then when you repeat this word, it brings about an experience, right? So that's the point, you see. So you have to get there, that you get a taste about it, so that you can use then these words to bring about that taste, right? In meditation, but also in the break time. When you go about your daily life, you must have a trick to bring about that experience, you know. So you see, you bring about a mental image of emptiness and dependent arising, because your sense consciousness will still, you see, it's not like suddenly you will see a rainbow car, you know. Unless you're Janis Joplin, that's not going to happen, right? You know, you see, the things will continue. It's not like suddenly you will start spacing out and seeing rainbow car and walking through the car and, you know, and not being able to function anymore. That's not the point. You know, your sense consciousness will continue to see things as concrete, but your mental consciousness is different. You see, your mental consciousness adds something on top that's different. You see, we don't realize, but we project onto things all the time. You see, the fact to project, we do that all the time. You know, so you see something attractive and you add something on top. Oh, I should buy that. Oh, how beautiful. It will be so nice if I have that dress or that car and blah, 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 blah. So you project an attractivity on top of the phenomena that is more than what the phenomena actually is. And then often you buy the thing and say, oh, it's only that, you know. You know, It's kind of, you know, it's actually, and then you realize actually that added attraction that was just a projection of my mind. And we do the same thing with people. You know, you don't know somebody, and the way it's closed or the way it looks, you know, you say, oh, I don't like that person, you know. And then you go up and you talk to that person for some reason and say, actually, it's a nice person. You know, where did that projection come from? No? So it's very interesting how the mind projects, you know, attraction, aversion, you know, all these things onto people and onto objects. Right? We constantly project. You see, our sense consciousness brings a certain level of reality, but the mind adds, you know, all these layers of attraction and aversion, you know. So when we meditate on emptiness, we project also something onto phenomena. But what we project, instead of being deluded, instead of being exaggeration, we project how it really is. Right? So then the projection, instead of creating mental affliction, creating this attraction, aversion, and jealousy, pride, and all the mental problem, it actually undermines that, because it's according to reality. What you project is according to reality. Right? So it undermines this mental affliction. Right? So this is important to understand how it works. You see, because otherwise, so what am I doing here? You know, so to add on to the sense will continue to see concrete cars. So don't worry if you you know, you will still be careful of the car. It's not like you say, oh, it's a rainbow car. You know, I can, you know, it won't hit me. Come on, you know, it doesn't work. So your sense consciousness will continue to see things concretely. That's, you know. But it's your mental consciousness will add on top a layer, you see, of seeing things like they are. And that's what's important to be able to do. And that and what if you do it properly, that reduces your mental affliction. You know? So for example, before coming here, we passed in a parking lot, you know, and there was a beautiful Bentley and a Ferrari. No, it was a Maserati. Wow, beautiful cars, you know. And you know, I didn't project emptiness at that moment. I said, oh. I catch much afterwards, but not right at the moment. You know, nice car. So, but if you do it, you see, it reduces definitely, you know, the projection of overly attractiveness. But now the question is peace something we want or not? You know, because actually, when you look at the world, the world of advertisement, everything, you know, sport, thing, is actually the great thing in life is to be excited, to be passionate, to, you know, to, hey, wow, you know, you look the you know, to go to the disco, you know, go on holiday, you know, do this, do that. So a good life is a life where you have a lot of passion, you know, where you have a lot of things going on, you know. So emptiness is a little bit the opposite of that, right? So the question arises, is it worthwhile, you know, or is it better to be excited and, you know, and have all this drive we have in life, this passionate, excited lifestyle? So there's two ways of looking at it. One way is to realize that no matter how much you have of excitement, it's never gonna last. Things are impermanent. So objects give you a satisfaction for a while, but after a while you get bored and you need another object, right? And then after a while you buy that one, then after a while you get bored and you buy something else. And same thing with people, sometimes people make you happy and after a while you get bored. So it seems to be in the nature of phenomena that the satisfaction that they bring you, it doesn't last. And then you have to renew the experience again and again. And that you have to, get at the beginning, one beer was enough, then you need 2 beers, then you need 3 beers, then you need 4 beers to get to the same state. So it seems that you need always to increase whatever pleasure you have to get the same level of satisfaction. So that's one aspect. And then the second aspect is actually, even if you realize emptiness, you can still do all these things, right? There's nothing preventing you having an interesting, active life. It's just, it won't feed your delusion. Okay, 5 minutes break. We make break every hour.